I go through these battles day to day. I question the decisions I make to see if what I'm doing is the right path. And it's not easy, man. That's what it is you show up. You choose to rise again and again and again consistently through every moment that can be negative in your life. It's choosing to rise above it. Welcome to episode 0. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why not episode 1? Well, because this is the prelude. The prelude, the prelude, the forward, the warm up. We're going to stick to episode 0. And really, this is just going to let you know what this channel is all about. So, on this episode, we talk about discipline. One day it's here, the next day it's not. But truthfully, man, it really isn't. There's so many moments where we go through just different struggles, not just on discipline, but motivation as well. It's honestly a roller coaster of emotions that we end up going through, and it just goes against the current of consistency. And that is some of the biggest battles that we face. Some of the biggest battles that I face going on through this journey, not only through my fitness journey, through my faith, through my family. It's just being able to be consistent with every individual and be intentional with my time. And a lot of those moments it just really requires that discipline because just going off motivation alone really won't be able to cut it. So it's just building discipline is hard, but feeding off just motivation is even harder. There have been days where through my training, where I wake up at 2 a.m. and I know that's not normal, but there's plenty of moments whenever it's 2 a.m. and trust and believe that I do not want to get up. I just want to stay in bed. I want to get some rest. And luckily, I've been able to keep a balance to being able to make sure I get at least 7 hours of sleep on the weekends, even better, getting my 8 hours of sleep. But it's all a balance between everything. And one thing that I've wanted to share is just the process of it all because people don't really see the process. They see the finish line. They see the transformation. They see just the finished result. And a lot of times as individuals, we fail in a sense to where we will compare ourselves to someone else's finish line, someone else's finished results, and we want to be able to get there. I've come to understand that not everything is a overnight success. As much as I want it to be, me being able to get for the first time in my life a six pack, I wanted that from the very start whenever I was going through this journey, but it took time, dedication, and outside of that, there it was just a whole level of focus. But that's not just through the fitness. It's whenever we have certain goals. A lot of times we'll really focus on the outcome of everything, but don't really understand the process goals that it takes to get there. And even with the process goals, those are short term goals compared to the outcome where you have your long term goal. But what you need to also focus on is your micro goals. Where you're like, what are micro goals, man? And those are my habits. Like, without me building these habits, I wouldn't have been able to have a stable process. And having these stable processes made the outcome goal inevitable. So it's really just a matter of being able to have that focus. And it's not easy. And that's why I've wanted to be able to share this process because a lot of times you'll see all the wins, all the highlights, but you hardly hear of the struggle, the process of what it takes to get there, your moments of doubt, your moments of failure, the moments whenever you just feel like you can't go no more. And whenever it feels like giving up isn't that bad of an option. And I've had those moments. I've had moments where I really felt like I was failing and I felt like giving up was a choice. It was definitely a choice that was on the table. And there's plenty of moments when I had setbacks physically, mentally, financially, the weight of expectations that you put on yourself. I feel like there's expectations in titles, the expectation of being a father, the title of a father, making sure that I'm doing all I can for my kids, the expectation of being a spouse, right? Being intentional with the time that I have with my fiance, right? Intentional with my time with my mom, because one thing I've learned is that time is never promised, right? My dad was here, and within seconds he was gone, right? And that was hard because I literally saw him in the morning to say good morning. He asked me to come inside, and that's a vulnerable moment. But just he asked me to come inside, and I was like, "Man, give me just a minute." I was outside knocking some things out, and not even 30 minutes later, he was gone. He had to get taken to the hospital and so forth, but it would be the last time that everything was okay, and everything happened within seconds. So it's really just being intentional with the time in everything that you're doing, right? Major shout out to my fiance and my big headed kids, my mom, my family. I love you guys, right? But that struggle, bro, like that's what I'm here to talk about. Because there's plenty of times that I felt like quitting. There's plenty of times whenever I felt like I wasn't enough. There was plenty of times whenever I just felt like this is it. Like there's no way I'm gonna make it out of this debt. There's no way that I'm gonna be able to make it to the finish line. There's no way that I'm gonna be able to hit this goal. And so many moments whenever we go through these thoughts and no one really shares it. We sometimes live in an environment where everybody is just closed-minded about the failures and the battles and are only open about the success that you achieved versus just the struggle to be able to get to where you are, right? And sometimes people need to be able to hear that. I know I have, right? It's helped me to know that it's human. It's part of the process of being able to get to that finish line, right? And it's the journey that not everybody speaks on, right? So I'm excited to be able to share it. And hopefully there's others out there that may be able to benefit from it. My name is Adrian Catano, and this channel is really that, the real talk, the work through the progression, the work through the battles, the work in every step of the way, whether positive, whether negative, and even in those neutral moments. It's just the raw, honest truth. And I'm excited to share it. It's building discipline, building health. We'll speak it into existence, building wealth and faith. I feel like my journey with God has been huge. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be able to get to where I'm at today. And those have been some of the biggest impacts that have changed my life, that have saved my life. And I'm excited to be able to share that there. There's no perfection here. I am far from it. There's plenty of faults that I have, but it's just the daily choice that I make to rise, right? And if you've caught that on some of my posts there, it's choosing to rise, right? And that right there is important. But before we continue on, guys, I really want to take a pause to be able to give a shout out to the sponsors of this episode, which is it's actually right. We actually don't have any sponsors, guys. We're just getting started, but one day we're going to speak it into existence and we're going to get some sponsors, but we'll see how it is. But I, I'm, I'm just kidding y'all. But continuing on, man, I am no expert. I am far from being an expert. I don't have all the answers. I definitely make mistakes, but I'm upfront about it. I'm honest about it just because it's through that process of failing and learning that I'm able to grow from it. And that's huge, man. Like growth and that process is something beautiful where not everybody catches that because those individual struggles are what help you grow you and mold you and prepare you for what can be coming. One thing that really hit, and it just gives me chills just to think about it, is that we can pray for certain things. Like, Lord, bless my business. Bless me in this journey to be able to accomplish this financial goal. And I've come to understand that God's blessing will come when he knows we're ready to be able to take on that blessing. And a prime example, can just be me with coaching individuals. I may want to be able to have this book of clients that would really be able to just completely take over where I don't have to do my regular 9 to 5 and so forth. But it's also important for me to make sure that the clients that I have now, I fully take care of, right? That there is absolutely no doubt that the process that they're going through, the detail that they get is exactly what they need. And the Lord's preparing me in a way where He has given me this current amount of clients so that whenever it gets to that point where He feels like I'm ready, then I'll be blessed in that time, right? And that's huge. It's understanding that it's in His timing and not mine, right? I'm still learning, still failing, still navigating through life, navigating through pressures and the expectations that we set upon ourselves. And, at this very moment, I continue to fail. I continue to fail in a sense of being able to understand the boundaries of just saying no. I ingest too many opportunities, too much in the sense that I am hanging on by a thread and it's mentally exhausting. And I've had to learn to be intentional with my yeses in that same way of being intentional with my time. If I want to be able to give my 100%, I can't stretch myself so thin. If I want to be able to give my time to my kids, to my family, to my clients, to my business, to everything that I take on, I have to be intentional with my yeses and understanding of my nos. You see, that same way, the devil can keep you busy, man. I want to make sure that I'm giving time to everything, but more importantly, giving time to the Lord because it's only through Him that I've been able to get to where I'm at today. And it's really prioritizing that time. It's just, it's a battle. It's a battle because sometimes we see things that are like, no, man, I can't take this up. But it'll come in God's timing. And you got to be able to have that discernment to know when that is. Keep that balance and keep that understanding. People don't always want to hear from an expert, and that's me. I'm not an expert, but I go through these challenges of life. I go through these battles day to day. I question the decisions I make. I question to see if what I'm doing is the right path. And I continue to pray. I continue to pray that it is the right path I'm on. I continue to pray that it is the right direction that I'm doing. I pray that I am leading my family down the path that the Lord wants me to take them. And it's not easy, man. It's not. It's not easy to be able to lead your family. It's not easy to be able to lead others. It's not easy to be able to take on some of these challenges, but I know that as long as I have God on my side, I'll be able to achieve it. And that's just a completely different level of peace. It's a peace that I have not had ever until now. And I feel like sharing these struggles, sharing these battles, and even in like these real vulnerable moments that will come, like I pray that it's an opportunity for someone to really understand that peace that God gives you. I pray that it be a moment of just understanding for those that may be going through it, that you're not just going through it, but you're going to get through it, right? God's right there in those very moments. There's a beautiful poem, man, and I don't even know if I call it a poem, but a story. It's called Sand Steps. And it's an individual there speaking with God, and he's like, man, Lord, I'm looking at these steps right here, and you walked with me the entire path. But here in this moment, these steps right here, these were some of the hardest moments of my life, and you left me. It's only my steps here. And he's like, my child, if you only knew that in these very moments that you dealt with these battles, those steps that you see are my steps, because those are the moments that I carried you for you were too weak to be able to walk it alone. And man, that gives me chills. It gives me chills, but it also gives me peace in knowing that these battles that I may face, I'm not alone, man. And y'all got to understand that. Y'all aren't alone. We may all go through these individual challenges and God willing, me speaking on it, it could be something that really just hits for somebody. So the phrase choose to rise, to be able to get back to that, that comes directly from a verse that really just resonates in my heart, which is Proverbs 24:16. Though the righteous may fall 7 times, they rise. Not because they're perfect, not because they don't fail, not because they don't have issues come into play, but it's because they choose not to stay down, right? It's because they're aware that God is at their side. And that right there, that's what it is you show up. You choose to rise again and again and again consistently through the battles, through the failures, through the doubts, through every moment that can be negative in your life. It's choosing to rise above it because you have the you have God right at your side. Outside of these battles, man, I am excited to share some of these other things, man, and that's my passion. One of my other passions is running. Running changed my life, man. I feel like running is something that not everybody may love, and it's not something that I started loving. I started off running a mile where it was running and walking, and it took me like 22 to 23 minutes. Last time I checked on the Nike app, which I hadn't opened in a while, but that's when I did. I was like, wow. I had to compare it to where I'm at Strava now, and it's been an absolute blessing. It's been a game changer, man. That I feel like running is such a peace for me whenever I'm out there. Sometimes people may complain about the whole process of running, but truthfully, just once you understand like zone two pacing, right? And you just take a moment to be able to slow down in your running. It's a piece, man. It's a mental piece. I have such a good deep prayer while I'm in my run. But not just that, I feel like I have some of the best ideas while I'm out there running. Some of the goofiest thoughts too sometimes. I put out a video here this past few weeks where it was really me thinking like, wow, if Jesus were to be running without any godly powers, like what would his pace be at? Because boy, he ran like he was walking distances. Like granted, they take some breaks on the donkeys and so forth, but him and his disciples, man, I bet you they all could run because those are some miles. But not to get off topic, man, but those are just some of the thoughts that I can just have whenever I'm out on a run. And I'm excited to share this passion, but not only for my own sake and not only for from my perspective, but I want to be able to share the journey, the training, the battles, the failures, and not just my story. There's so many runners out there, so many runners out there that have put in the miles, put in the work, all without recognition, all with everything that they still have to deal with on day to day life, balancing work, balancing family, yet putting in these 10, 15, 20-mile days. It's a challenge. And whenever I talk about waking up at 2 a.m., I wake up at 2 a.m. because I'm putting in anywhere from 8 to 10 miles on any given Monday through Friday, right? My long runs are on Saturdays, so I'm able to dedicate more time, but it's a challenge. And I know whenever I may go through these challenges, some of these other runners are doing the same exact thing. And and it's amazing, man. It's truly a joy. And I feel like even with me speaking on it, it's just a different tone and perspective. I love being able to see other runners that have had that highlight that shows them through the process of this run. I'd love to be able to hear the stories of how they got there. And that's my goal is really just to be able to highlight some of these runners because there's so many other individuals that are out there that have put in the miles and may have not been first place, second place, third place, but they finished. And guaranteed, whenever I go out there, I signed up or not yet, but my goal is to sign up here for a marathon here. And once I do, because I'm going to record that there because that's going to be a moment here for me. But when I do, regardless of where I place, those miles are miles that I accomplished that I never thought I would be able to do so. So whenever it comes to that moment, it it's going to be such a joy. And I know that there's other people that not have only ran marathons, but man, 50 milers, ultra marathons, and that is amazing to me. I can't even imagine the work and the training that you go through for that. And I'm excited for not only myself, but for others to be able to experience and hear these stories because most of us really aren't chasing fame. We're chasing the progress, we're chasing the process. And man, it's just something else. And I'm excited, man. I hope y'all are as excited as I am. I know some may not, some may be, but hey, if you've made it this long, maybe you're carrying something. Maybe you're going through a season. I encourage you to know that failing does not disqualify you. Failing does not mean that you can't keep going, right? Struggling doesn't make you weak. We all go through struggles. We may not all voice it, but guaranteed every individual that you see behind that success has gone through a struggle, right? And restarting doesn't mean you failed. Restarting means you chose to rise, right? Think about that. Restarting means you chose to rise. I restarted my running journey. I was at the end of this last year where I had been fully dedicated to my speed runs. For the first time, I was dipping into like 5 minutes and 50-second miles. And getting into these miles, although it may be brief, where it's just the mile compared to continuous miles, because I hadn't been able to build up on it. I was getting there, getting these 6 minute miles, 7 minute miles were comfortable, 8 minute miles were my zone two running. And then just like that, I had an IT band and TFL flare up, and I never would have expected it. I had a minor ache while I was stretching, and I ignored it. I let it continue on for 2 to 3 days. And in the middle of me sleeping, I tossed and turned over. And whenever I turned over, my leg got stuck to the blanket. And that movement gave me a pain that woke me up that night. I ignored it, said I'm going to go ahead and sleep it off. And whenever I woke up, I instantly felt it. I got on the floor, I felt the pain. I was just like, man, let me go ahead and stretch it out, see how it all goes. I couldn't do leg swings. That leg swing was just really hurting. But I'm like, maybe if I let the blood flow whenever I'm running, maybe it'll just wear out. And at that point I had stopped wearing knee braces because I had been good without them. Boy, was I wrong. By the time I made it out there and I started running, I felt an immediate pain. I had to come back inside. I put my knee brace on, and as crazy as it was, that's almost the battle of being so focused is I instead of just calling it and saying like, "Hey, I'm not running today." I went out, put this knee brace on, and finished out 6.5 miles during that time. And that was really the longest that I had been running during that moment. But I was rotating my runs and making sure that I was just putting in my tempo runs, my interval runs, my strides. But in that very moment, I finished it out. And not just that, I was like, man, I got to do strides today. So I finished it in pain and I did my strides in pain. After that day, it was the realization of what I did to my body because throughout the day, not only was it painful to stand, it was painful to walk, it was painful to sit, and it had me completely wondering, one, if I was going to be good to just walk, but it had me doubting that I'd be able to run at all, right? Next day, same thing, that pain is there. And I really was just so goal driven that I had to figure out what am I going to do to be able to continue to run. And I slowed my pace down. I started just looking at being able to complete a run. I left speed out of the table at that point. Now, I could have just completely given up, but I restarted. I restarted my journey. I restarted my focus during that point where my goal at that time was just to simply be able to run. I was 2 weeks away from a race week, but I'm not gonna tell you the end result there because that'll be an episode to come. But just know that in those moments, whenever it felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel for me to be able to run, but I prayed daily. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that was another verse that continued to have me walk boldly and step out boldly to know that I would continue to be strengthened by him. And man, I started staying dedicated. I was over here doing stretches every 30 minutes. I set a timer on my phone just so that I can do these specific stretches to be able to help me out. I was sleeping in a certain position every night. I was doing the all this mobility. It was intense, but I wanted to make sure that I was able to fully recover. And now I'm here 4 months out, doing anywhere from 8 to 10 miles daily, doing half marathons on the weekend, not official ones, but just me doing my long run, building up. Right now, I'm averaging about 50 miles a week with the goal of getting up to 60 miles. And this whole restart changed my training. It changed my training from speed runs that I was only doing like a 5K, so a little over 3 miles daily, with my long runs being like 6 miles, to doing complete stack mileage comfortably. And it's crazy, man, because it's really the understanding that there's a purpose. And it also changed my thoughts of running. It was a battle. There was ugly moments. There was struggling moments. There was emotional moments, but all to get to the point where I'm at right now. And I feel like it's just such a beautiful journey. And that's the journey of life. We go through so many individual struggles. Think about finances, man. There's moments whenever I thought that I would never make it out of debt and I make it out. And then what do you know? I am a creature of habit where I just ended up getting myself back into debt. So it's really being strict and having that discipline, consistency. It's hard. It's not something easy. It's discipline in your fitness journey, discipline in your finances, discipline in your life, discipline with your time, intentional. It's a growth process. And that's why I'm excited to share it, man, just because we all go through these individual battles, but not everybody's just courageous enough. And I not to toot my own horn to say that I'm courageous, is just even being vulnerable like this to a group of complete strangers can be daunting. But I really have the hope that this can, even if it helps one individual, one person that may be going through those individual struggles, to realize, like, hey, there's a way out. I may not see it right now, but it's going to happen. And it's just keeping faith in those moments. So keep that in mind, man. Keep it in mind in those moments that you struggle. Keep it in mind in the moments that you feel any kind of doubt. You'll make it through. So if this hits you in any kind of way, share it with someone that may still be in the works. Share it with anybody that it may hit their heart. 'Cause there's more to come, man. My name is Adrian Catano again, and I'm gonna catch you on episode 1. Again, this was episode 0, the prelude, the forward, the warm up, whatever you want to call it, but we're gonna call it episode 0, man. And I'm really excited for this journey. I'm excited for y'all to be able to catch in and tune in with us for everything that we have upcoming, through every battle, every journey, every shared story, every testimony. It is going to be a ride, y'all. And this is, again, episode 0. It's going to be a blessing to be able to check this out 1 year from now, 2 years from now. It's a journey, man. So day to day, keep on checking in. We're going to come out with these weekly here. And I hope y'all have a blessed day, man. Choose to rise. Deuces, y'all.